Welcome back to another Doctor Who Robert Harrop collector figurine review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at one of the older releases from the line. This time that is the Osiran Sutekh from Pyramids of Mars, of course a 4th Doctor story, one of the most iconic in fact Doctor Who stories from the classic era and Doctor Who as a whole, because within good reason it is an absolutely brilliant episode that sees Doctor Who kind of cross into Egyptian mythology, and it is very exciting. And to be honest, it goes without saying, if you've not seen the Pyramids of Mars yet, then I definitely recommend it, because it is, as I say, one of the most iconic Doctor Who stories ever. This is, of course, available on the Robert Harrop website. It's one of the older releases, I do believe from at least last year or the year before that. It is the 14th figure in the line, and it is currently still on sale on the Robert Harrop website for £59.99. We'll leave the link in the description below if you are interested by what you see in this review, because it is a rather exciting looking figurine. Firstly, taking a look at the box, it is pretty much your standard Doctor Who box that we've seen with the other Robert Harrop figures in the line, so it does follow your standard design of the diamond packaging as per usual. So at the very front we get the Doctor Who and BBC logo along with the diamond design at the very front, and then we get the label that says Who 14 along with Osiran Sutekh from the Pyramids of Mars, limited edition 2300 along with the 4th Doctor 1974 to 1981, although you can't really see that because it is an oddly hieroglyphic sticker. At the very bottom we do get the Robert Harrop logo along with limited edition hand-painted figurine, and then on the sides of the box you don't really get anything, just the Doctor Who logo in kind of a faded design, the same on the opposite side as well, and the same on the back along with a little bit of company information at the bottom. On the top of the box you do get another sticker that once again reads the title of the set along with the limited edition number, mine of which being 169 out of 300, and then at the bottom of the box you get absolutely nothing. So yeah, this is just your standard corrugated box, which does protect the figure inside really nicely. As this is one of the older figures in the line, the bubble wrap protection has in fact been swapped out for this release to just have this polystyrene sort of sarcophagus thing. So as you can see, on the inside it does protect the figure rather well, although it's not in there anymore because Sutekh broke out a few hours ago, as he did out of his pyramid in that story. Hey, that was a good spontaneous reference, wasn't it? But yeah, that's just your standard polystyrene case. At the very top we just get the Doctor Who logo once again, along the limited edition number, which is nice, just in case you do forget what this is from. The figure does also, of course, come with your standard Doctor Who certificate of authenticity that once again is in the diamond design layout, along with the official number handwritten on there, which being 169, and then of course at the bottom we do get a telesnap of Sutekh from the story, along with certified from Robert Harrop, and then of course on the back we do get a little bit of information about Sutekh, along with the Pyramids of Mars, and a little bit of company details about Robert Harrop at the bottom as well, which is very nice to display once again alongside your statue. As this is one of the earlier figures in the line, something it does also come with is this little piece of card, which is rather exciting. I don't know why, it's literally just a piece of card, but it does have the Doctor Who logo on once again, with Sutekh and limited edition at the bottom, and then once again Who 14 at the other side, and this basically just sits in front of the figure. Even though this is literally just a piece of card, I do quite like it. I think that it sort of finalises the figure quite nicely, and it's just nice to actually have a little name tag in front of the characters. It makes it feel a little bit more official, and it's a shame that the later figures in the line, such as the Special Weapons Dalek and the Mandrill, we have the Sutekh figurine out of the box, and doesn't it look pretty stunning, to be honest? I think that Sutekh is one of those designs that no matter what format it's released in, it always looks really cool, it always looks powerful, always looks godlike, because that is essentially what Sutekh is. He's kind of this sort of extraterrestrial godlike character, and I think that he looks absolutely stunning, especially the way that he's been posed. It makes him look sort of rather daunting and powerful and menacing, which is quite cool. And I just think there's something about Sutekh that he's kind of his own level of Doctor Who villain, and it shows because Big Finish have brought him back on a number of occasions as well, and he's one of those characters that I think I will be looking into a little bit more in the future, especially when it comes to my Big Finish listing, because he's just so interesting and at the same time really cool to look at. So taking a closer look at Sutekh's costume, to be honest, we don't really have much going on because it is a rather simplistic design, but one of which that is rather effective. So as you can see at the very bottom, we do have almost this dress section that has been detailed rather nicely, of these two tubing sections around the side, along with almost a few thumbprints and sort of in concave designs here to sort of represent a little bit of material rippling. This also goes onto the side as well, as you can see a few more sections that make it look a little bit more rippled, especially on the back here, of this massive sort of gash going along the side there to make it look like the material is sort of actually creasing together, which is rather cool to make it look like an actual dress. And this also has been detailed rather nicely to almost make it look a little bit like stone, which I'm judging is probably a natural effect given off the actual resin that is used to make this in the first place. But as you can see, especially on that piping, there is almost a little bit of a stippled design on there to make it almost look like a stone statue, which is rather cool. And I think that Sutekh is one of those characters that actually does look like a stone statue anyway, even though he is an actual person underneath. So yeah, that is a very nice section, and it would have been nice nice to maybe have a little bit of detail on this, maybe a few brush strokes of silver or something like that, just to give it an almost metallic feel. But that said, we don't really see the bottom of the costume that much within the actual story. I think that the majority of the scenes that he is in are quite darkly lit, so it does make it quite hard to actually recreate in real life. But that said, it does still look rather cool. Chest part of the figure now, we do get a little bit more detail as we have a few more of this tubing design along this waist section at the very bottom here that involves 3 tubes, along with this rather nice red section in the very middle that has been really nicely painted. So once again, we've got a few creases here and there to probably actually sort of recreate where the actor was probably fastened into the suit on the inside. And then we have this massive bulbous shoulder section here that has got a lot of different bits of tubing on to really pad out that shoulder section, making him look once again rather powerful and rather large, because he is quite taller compared to your normal characters that is released in the Robert Harrop line in kind of the normal human scale. So we do have a few piping designs going along the side here, once again with that sort of stippled piping sort of stone design going along the side as well, giving it this rather nice sort of battered texture. And then in the very middle we do also get this weird section here that does stick out. This is in fact a completely solid piece. We don't get any engraving under there or anything like that. Yeah, that is a rather unusual almost beak section there. Don't really know what it is, but it looks cool at the same time. Then of course at the very back, once again we get a few more gashes and things along this sort of stone textured pattern, and then the same black paint apps once again repeated. Taking a look at the arms of the figure, we do get a few more additional bits of creasing. No doubt this is in fact where the costume changed in material to be a little bit more baggy for Gabriel Wolfe underneath when he was acting within the story itself. Once again, we get more banded sections along the upper half of the arm, which have been painted quite nicely once again with that red section, really making it look rather sort of gem-like in a way. And then we of course also have a few more creases and things towards the bottom. And then we have the hands themselves, which have been recreated in this rather nice red paint app. Bit of skin detailing on this. As you can clearly see, the fingers have been sculpted rather nicely along the thumb at the side as well, and this has just been painted in this rather nice glossy red format, which really does give him sort of a metallic shiny sort of red skin feel, which is really cool. And then exactly the same for the opposite side as well, with a few details of the actual hands in there. And then taking a look at the back once again, get a few more creases and things along the actual fingernails nicely sculpted into there as well, looking really cool. I just love the way that the figure is actually posed, because it is incredibly simplistic, but at the same time, he kind of looks very godlike, because he's holding his hands out and he's kind of just going, yes, I'm powerful, what are you going to do about it? And as I say, it looks very daunting and very cool at the same time. And I kind of like the way that the figure is rather slim, because it makes it look even taller, especially when compared to the other figures in the Robert Harrop collection. And finally, for detail, moving on to Sutekh's helmet. Now, they've decided to go with this sort of more helmeted design as opposed to the jackal head, which is something that I definitely prefer, because the jackal head within the series itself, it did kind of look cool, but at the same time, I would definitely opt for this design a little bit more, because it just continues that rather simplistic feel, but effective one at the same time, as well as sort of carrying on a few of those Egyptian kind of themes in there as well. As you can see, we clearly have the eyes really nicely sculpted, along with almost this snake pattern going along the front here, sort of making it look like it comes out of the face. And yeah, this has been really nicely painted. The red details have been brought out really sharply, with almost a stippling of black around the side there as well, once again making it look almost like a stone sort of mask. And then in the very middle, we do get this really nice emerald green eye, which has been really nicely reflected once again with a little bit of varnish over the top there to make it look really nice and glossy, almost like they're glowing. Of course, with this being made of resin, we can't have any light feature or anything like that, unlike the actual toy itself, which would have been cool, but you know, kind of not really effective for the statue format. But it actually looks like it glows anyway without the aid of lights, which is good. Almost have a little bit of black intersecting within the actual red design here as well, once again making the details look a little bit more sharp. Actual sculpting of the head itself is also rather interesting. As you can see, it curves around the front there, sort of recreating this rather pointy chin design, and then of course around the sides of the head as well. We do get this fin design, once again recreating a few of those almost sort of stippled piping designs as seen within the actual story itself. And at the very top, we do also get this sort of head section thing, making him look very Egyptian once again. At the very back, we don't really get too much detail, just a flat section of the head, along with a few banded sections of that intersecting black and red design with a bit of piping on there as well. So yeah, that is rather cool, and once again painted rather nicely. The whole head does have this rather nice silver metallic wash over the top, and I think it would have been nice if this was actually involved on the rest of the body as well, because it does seem to be pretty much majority just the head, and I think it does make it look rather cool, and it does actually make it look rather shiny as well in certain lights. As you can see, it brings out a few of those sharp details a little bit more, so it would have been nice to see a paint app similar to this replicated on the rest of the body. But that said, at the same time, the fact that this is limited completely to the head makes the head stand out even more, so I guess guess that is kind of a benefit at the same time. And compared to some of the more humanoid body designs that are seen in the Robert Harrop figures, some of them can look a little bit disproportionate, but this figure does seem to look okay. I think the head is definitely within scale with the actual body, along with the rest of the limbs actually being within scale as well, so that is good. At the very base of the figure, we do get this rather unusual, almost chalk purple design, once again with a few sort of little bits of black weaved in within there as well to kind of create this almost stone sort of gem pattern, which is rather cool. I don't particularly know what this is meant to be recreating. I think it might be similar to sort of the backdrop of his walls in sort of the Sutekh prison that he's locked within the actual story itself, but it's a little bit more of sort of a colour to the figure, because this is pretty much the only other colour on the figure as opposed to black and red. It's nice to kind of change it up a little bit, bringing more attention to the figure itself, and finishes off the figure quite nicely. And of course at the very bottom we do get the white trim as per usual, and then on the very base of the figure we do get a little bit of felt material to make sure that when it's on a surface it doesn't in fact rub or anything like that. And of course we do also get the metallic sticker as well, which once again has Osiran Sutekh, Who 14 and the Doctor Who logo printed once more, along with the unique number for this figure once again handwritten onto the base, which is nice, and this figure is limited to 300. A little bit of a comparison now to some of the other Sutekhs in my collection. As you can see, I've got a rather nice range from many different sort of lines of Doctor Who merchandise, so I think that this figure is generally probably the most high quality, but that said, it is made of a much different material compared to the other two, being the Catch Options line and the Biff Bang Pow doll-like version, which I do kind of like. It has a rather niche novelty about it because it's rather unusual and made of cloth. But yeah, that said, it looks really cool, and it's probably my favourite Sutekh that I have, but that said, that one does have the light feature that currently isn't working because the battery run out, but hey ho. Yeah, it is a very nice figure, and as you can see, it looks cool no matter what format it is reproduced in. So overall, for the Doctor Who Robert Harrop limited edition hand-painted figurine of the Osiran Sutekh from the Pyramids of Mars, I think that if you are looking for a high-quality representation of Sutekh from that story, then this is definitely a product worth considering, because it is a high-market product, it is hand-painted, it is a part of a niche line, meaning that those flaws that you would normally expect, such as, say, paint leaks, especially on the helmet, where we have that rather Egyptian style of red design and sort of the glowing eyes, something that you would normally expect paint leaks from on, say, action figures, are not present on this figure, because with it being hand painted, a lot of care has been took into making sure that the paint apps are very sharp and very detailed and accurate to what is seen within the actual story itself. And due to this being made of sort of a high quality material as well, this is something that once you put on the shelf, it's something that you don't really want to play with or anything like that. So it's nothing that I recommend for the younger audience. It's something that I definitely recommend for the more experienced collector, because if this was to fall or anything like that, it would smash, and you don't want that. So yeah, I do definitely recommend this one if you are looking for a high quality representation of Sutekh. There is a little bit more of an improvement, say, compared to the action figures, of one of which that you would see within the figurine collection, because it just has something about it that looks really cool and impressive, and on the shelf I imagine that this will have a lot of eyes drawn to it as well. And I just like the fact that this is a part of a niche line. It has sort of a nice collector's feel about it, but it does also have those natural flaws in there as well. Due to this being £60, some people may consider it a little bit too expensive, but that said, at the same time, if you are a classic Doctor Who collector, you kind of expect to be paying those prices these days for decent quality merchandise. So yeah, I do recommend this for the more experienced collector as opposed to the more younger audience, but I do recommend checking it out on the website either way if you are interested by what I've shown you in this review. That's for this figure and this review. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I guess I'll see you all in another Doctor Who product review at some point in the near future. No doubt more figures from this line, as well as many other different lines as well, along with your standard audio dramas, book reviews, and all sorts coming in the future as well. There's lots on the way, which is all very exciting and nice. Even though Doctor Who isn't on air, it's still great to see that we've got some rather nice merchandise being pumped out at the minute. So thanks for watching this review, and I shall see you all next time. Bye for now.